Hi, I'm Parsa Kiai from Steamboat Capital, and I'd like to discuss our investment thesis on Martinrea International. One of the ways in which we at Steamboat like to think about investing is to invest in situations where we have a potential likely positive outcome in either scenario that is likely to occur. Kind of a heads, we win, tails, we either don't lose or we might win also. And we think Martinrea is one of those types of examples. Martinrea is a Tier 1 Canadian auto parts company focusing on fluid handling systems, metal stamping, and aluminum casting. And the business was a standard auto parts company in Canada run by a trio of gentlemen who left Magna International and until recently was not a very controversial security until there was a lawsuit filed by a former shareholder and director. Now, the allegations in this individual's lawsuit are rather inflammatory, so the security has become very dislocated and has become somewhat orphaned in Canada as traditional Canadian investors are not investing in it, and it's not well known to the US value investing community, so it has become substantially mispriced. Now, the interesting thing about this investment is that there's two outcomes. Either the allegations are true or the allegations are not true. If the allegations are not true, then we perceive this stock that was a $13 stock prior to the allegations coming out and has now fallen to $8. If they're not true, the stock should likely go back to 13. But what if they are true? And what I think makes this an interesting investment is that we've spent an enormous amount of time going through every one of the allegations to understand what are the implications if this is true. And in a very interesting scenario, if the allegations are actually true, this means that the intrinsic value of the company may actually be higher than if they're not. Usually when there's some sort of litigation that comes out that sends a stock down, it's bad. Or some news like this, it's some short seller comes out and says, something's wrong with the company. In this case, it's actually more akin to an activist coming out and saying, you're poorly run, we think we can do better, we think margins should be higher, we think in a variety of reasons. So in a very unusual scenario, we think that the allegations imply that the company should have higher earnings and higher value, yet they force the stock to go down. So because of this unusual dichotomy and this unusual nature of these outcomes, we sit here and we look at this investment as an $8 stock with two outcomes, potentially $12 and potentially $13 or $14 or more dollars. But if it's very important to say, okay, maybe we're missing something. So what are the risks in this security? Obviously, there's a detailed discussion about the nature of the allegations and what they state about the company. But for reasons that we can get into, we've spent an enormous amount of time going through all of these, and we think that these allegations are either immaterial, they might be very small in size, that it doesn't matter for a company with $200 million of EBITDA, or they may be irrelevant or misleading. So we feel that the nature of the allegations are inflammatory, but really lacking in a smoking gun substance in that way. And we think that this stock has now become very dislocated. Our personal view is that the allegations are not true, that the management team is actually rather well qualified, and that this business, which is now trading at a 30-40% discount to its historical valuation and to all of its peers, is likely to appreciate substantially with defined catalysts through the resolution of this lawsuit and the removal of this uncertainty. So we feel that we're investing in a decent business with a decent management team at a very attractive valuation and with catalysts with either outcome likely to be a positive outcome for shareholders. And it's one of those rare examples where there is uncertainty, but we don't think there's risk. So that's why we think that this particular security is very interesting.